Okay, so we lost Tim to some technical difficulties, but that's okay because he hasn't watched any of the content anyway. So not missing out on much here. Let's dive into Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Sandy, do you want to get us started with your highlights?
Sure. I really like Sutton. I don't know what the world thinks of Sutton these days, but I've always liked her. I think
Yeah,
she's pretty
yeah.
real. She's cute. She's fun. I really liked her story about putting Jennifer Tilly's salted caramel in her ear because she thought it was a earplug. I thought that was lovely. That was a highlight. I was really
Yeah, I
interested.
love
Go ahead.
No, I love Sutton. I think she's probably my favorite on this cast.
Mhm.
Also, like soft spot for cat people, which Sutton is a cat person
Yes.
as well as a horse person. So, yeah, and that she's friends with Jennifer Tilly, who I think is
Yeah.
a badass as well. So, really love that they're best friends. I don't know how I didn't know that, but yeah, it's
Yeah,
amazing.
I love surprise Jennifer Tilly, and she was great. I love when she's like, "You look so pretty," and Jennifer Tilly responds, "Thank you, that's my job."
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah,
But
totally.
the conversation that we got from Sutton talking about uh like seeking financial freedom from her ex,
Yes.
I thought that was a really like compelling discussion. I
Yes.
don't know what did you guys think about that?
I that was my next thing was I thought that was really interesting and really again like heartfelt. And these shows are about like extreme privilege, but this was a little window into, in another lens. Some of these women may have not, there's a dynamic of a woman with, I mean, the situation that Sutton was in where she seemed to really be trapped and be, not have a lot of options and felt really a prisoner in her situation. And that came through really clearly and is important to remember. And I think you see that with lots of other people, but it's not like the fun side of this stuff. It's not what is always highlighted. I think of Taylor and what was happening in her. Well, that was physical abuse. So there was like,
Right.
I think, right. And just all sorts of horrible stuff. So I'm sure that's happening. And it's masked by wealth oftentimes and the glibness of these shows. So it's important to sort of remember, and when those things come out, it's interesting, and I appreciated that.
Yeah, totally. I saw some posts on social media, and I don't know how they dug this up, but I want you guys to guess how much Sutton receives in spousal support.
Oh yeah, didn't they have that on
I
there?
thought she said it.
Yeah,
Isn't it like
it was
I
like
feel like she said it, and it was
it
like
was like
35,000 a month or something. No, did I make
no
I
that
think it
up?
was 300,000 a month.
300. Yeah,
Ah, okay.
that's
Yeah, that's crazy. That is a lot of money.
I mean, when
but she also has
horses
her
aren't cheap.
store.
Yeah. Yeah. What other highlights did you have, Sandy?
Let's see. I'm kind of like, obviously I'm excited for the Kyle storyline. Like that's going to be interesting, and we've seen it all sort of in the news and all these rumors, so it sounds like they're really getting into it. So looking forward to that. Um, and yeah, I was listening to Erica's sort of therapy session, etc., trying to figure out where I'm at on her. She was pretty interesting the last couple of seasons with her reactions to all of the Tom Girardi scandal stuff, but I think we're kind of over it. I don't know if there's anywhere else to go on that with her, and it sounds like she's probably going to try to make some sort of storyline out of making amends or something. I'm not sure. I'm interested in both of your takes on that. I definitely noted when her therapist suggested she try empathy, she seemed extremely perplexed on how
So
one
great.
would get that. So I like that moment.
I love that too. I absolutely loved how she was like, "How does one do an empathy like a Blade Runner replicant or something?" So, like, feel for others. What is love? It was so great. I loved Erica in this episode. I thought it was so great how she's like her defense for her the way she talked about Dorit's marriage is like, I was being a showman, and they show it, and she was absolutely being a showman, and they're like, that's not an excuse, and then she puts on a magnificent display of like humility and crying and excusing herself, a showman's magnificent display, really, and he completely gets out of it by being such a good showman. Yeah, she's great. Also, when her therapist is like, no, she asked her therapist, like, you know, if he something like if he dies in prison, will it go away? The feeling bad, and she's like, then you'll just start a new process of grieving, and she's like, oh, damn it.
So you guys think that she has like bandwidth on this to keep being compelling on this same journey?
I think that, I think that it's going to be, I am curious to see what she makes of it. I have similar, apprehensions as you that it might not be interesting, but from what we've seen so far, I was pleasantly surprised. Like, I was not exactly looking forward to another season of her talking about Tom. It did feel like it ran its course, but I think she's like on a compelling journey to like she's basically starting from less than zero, and to see what she can kind of make from that. Like, she's starting from less than zero, both in a kind of a financial situation, but also a social situation with Lisa gone, or Lisa Rinna gone. She's doesn't really have a lot in the way of allies. She's kind of on an island. So that is going to be interesting for me to watch, to see what she can make in terms of the kind of the social alliances, because to me she doesn't actually seem like someone that is very like she's a puppet master, but she's not really good at forging new friendships and bonds, which is what she needs to do in this situation in order to excel. Like, she's Erica's at her best when she has people that will kind of she can control and manipulate and do her bidding, but she doesn't have any of that right now. She's iced out. So we're gonna have to see her play a new kind of game, and that, it occurs to me that that might be exciting.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm looking forward to that too. And I just love watching Erica too, because she's got that psychopathic edge to her that like real superstars have. It's like watching Michael Jordan in The Last Dance. You know, it's not that you relate to him. It's just that there's like a certain like fascinating, inhuman quality that's so watchable.
Yeah, totally. What other highlights did you have, Sandy?
I think that was about it. I mean, the Eagle Woman scene was, I don't know if I have any comments per se. Every single person on that cast had some rude comments for Eagle Woman before they even got started. They were not being very nice to her, laughing at her name, etc. I don't know. Do you guys have any thoughts on that? Typical healing journey scene, I guess.
Yeah, I was wondering whether this person was actually like Indigenous, or if it was just like, because we see a lot of people come on and like just blatantly appropriate a culture in order to like scam people. So my initial thought that that's what this was, but I don't know. Then eventually it kind of seemed like maybe she's authentic in some way. So I don't know. I had to Google her, and she does claim to have Indigenous heritage. So yeah, I thought it was weird how they handled it on the show, because she was definitely treated as a complete joke, and they gave her like this like very goofy edit. But yeah, I definitely a weird scene.
Yeah, I just love all these faith healers. I just think they've got it figured out, and I'm taking notes. I'm learning how to become one. I want to. it does seem kind of low effort, her thing. It's like, we'll walk in a circle, then you'll sit down and talk, and then you'll hug, and that'll be the thing. Her thing kind of feels like a replacement kindergarten teacher. Uh, but I'm sure that this is that it's a great gig, and I think it's really awesome that they find an audience for these gigs, and I think it rules. It's great.
And we'll
I
see
have
you
no
on there
opinions
one
about.
day.
I hope
We'll see you on one of the next
yes.
franchises.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to hear your angle for healing.
Dylan, what highlights did you have?
That's really basically what I wanted to say. And I'm also really excited to see more of Kyle Richards' storyline, and also just shout out to Kyle Richards because it's Halloween, and she is the queen of Halloween. Star of the original Halloween movie, and star, a key performer in the original Halloween movie. So yeah, shout out to Halloween Queen Kyle, and also don't if you're getting into Kyle Richards' early work. Which you definitely should do for non-creepy reasons. You should not overlook Eaten Alive from 1976, which is a masterful Tobe Hooper movie where Kyle Richards plays another frightened little girl who has to escape from a crocodile underneath a shady East Texas hotel run by a madman with a scythe. And it's just a brilliant, brilliant film. She was in The Car too in 1977, which is another really good horror movie. She had a better horror movie resume than most horror movie scream queens before she was 10 years old. So it's the season for that. Yeah, let's just a shout out to a great horror icon.
Yeah, big time. I think we touched on most of my highlights from Beverly Hills as well. I did think it was funny that Dorit is bringing up this robbery that happened 2 or 3 seasons ago again, and her PTSD that she had, because when this happened, it seemed very much like something that didn't actually happen, and the fact that she's still pulling this out as something that she's affected by is, it's it seems really funny to me because it's always been treated as this big joke of a robbery. So, but yeah, I appreciated Dorit's work in the confessionals. I think that's something that she does really well, and she has continued to do really well in the first episode of this season. Just the impression that we got of Erica the showman and in the confessional booth was really good with the hair flips and everything. So
yeah,
shout out to Dorit. I think there was a lot of people that were a bit on the fence as to whether or not she should be returning this season, but I'm glad to see her. I think she's a great housewife.